Hey everyone, and welcome to episode 33 of the Cross Media Show. Today's topic is Godzilla versus Kong, in case you haven't realized. Uh, Before we get into it, if you're watching this on YouTube, feel free to give us a like and subscribe to help support us and see more great content like our new Marvel-centric show, the Marvel Mondays Initiative, our video game show, the Penultimate Conquest podcast, and our anime centric show, which is Anime Nation, hosted by Ryan. If you missed out on any of this week's content, feel free to check out the website, thepenultimateconquest.com, and check out our VODs and even see the schedule for the rest of the month, which has finally been updated. It feels good, you know? It feels good. If this is your first time watching our content, my name is Ruben. I am the director of the Penultimate Conquest. Today I have gathered a group of people that watched Godzilla versus Kong, I guess is the right way to put it. My first host, my first guest, sorry, is the host of the Awesomely Average show and one of the hosts of Speaking of Stadia. How you doing, Aaron?
I am great. It's good to be back. I'm excited to talk about two monsters throwing down.
That's right.
So thanks for having me back on.
Of course, it's always a pleasure to have you back on. I also have with me the co-host of the Penultimate Conquest podcast, and of course the host of Anime Nation, Ryan. How you doing?
I'm doing pretty good, pretty good. Also excited to talk about these big boys just throwing down, getting down and dirty.
Okay, cool. Another host. God, I keep saying host. I don't know why. Another guest that we have. She's been
Just
on.
means you have to give us all shows.
Oh, okay. I could do that. That's fine by me. She's been on the show a couple times before. She's an incredibly talented artist. You can find her on twitch.tv/Grizzly Expressions, if I have that correctly. Please welcome back Holland. Holland, how's it going?
It's going good. I've missed being on. It's been a minute.
Yeah, it has. Got to get you back on more shows.
Yeah, I agree.
And finally, I've saved the best for last. The man that knows JRPGs like the back of his hand. You could find his hot takes on Twitter at Noisy Shark. John, how's it going?
It is going very good. I am very excited to sit here with these fine folks and talk about giant lizard versus big monkey. I'm excited.
Oh, God. Okay. First thing is first. Guys, pick a side. Godzilla versus Kong. Who did we think was going to win this fight? Aaron, let's start with you.
I was going for Kong.
Okay.
I like Kong more personally.
Okay.
Especially in this universe. Skull Island has been my favorite out of all of them.
All right.
Until this one. But I won't get into spoilers until we get there. Called this movie beat for beat based off the trailer.
Oh, that's upsetting.
All the way to the final climax. I was like, this is exactly how this is going to go down.
That's really
and it
upsetting.
did.
Well, I mean, is
Yeah.
it upsetting or is it a good thing?
I was fine with it.
Okay.
I had shared my theory with my wife and like not really thinking about like my 9-year-old was around and he had been listening. So when we watched it, he leaned over during the big climax and he was like, wow, everything you said came true. And I was like, that's because your father is a genius.
Okay.
No
Okay.
Stradamus up in here.
Ryan, Godzilla or Kong? Which one are you picking?
Oh, Godzilla.
Oh.
Easy. The atomic breath, size difference. Godzilla had this from the
Okay.
beginning.
Okay. Holland, Godzilla or Kong?
At first, I mean, whenever I saw like the trailers and just from the way I grew up, I was always rooting for Godzilla. But I actually hadn't seen Skull Island until like a week before this movie,
Okay.
and that changed my mind. So I was definitely rooting for Kong.
Okay. Good. And finally, John, Godzilla or Kong?
So, obviously everyone's going to point out that Godzilla can shoot radioactive blasts from his mouth, but as this movie shows us, King Kong is capable of using tools, and we also saw that in Kong Skull Island. And in science, animals that can use tools are usually rated above animals that just fight with brute instinct. But I big lizard. I like big lizard, so I'm 100% Godzilla.
Okay. All right.
Big lizard. Let's go.
I was rooting for Kong all the way. Like, this guy just wants to be with his family, you know? Just leave him the fuck alone. I have to preface, I did not watch Godzilla King of the Monsters before this, just because, like, was it really necessary? Godzilla didn't even really fight most of the monsters I'm hearing. Like, it's kind of bogus.
So you'd never seen it?
I haven't seen Godzilla King of the Monsters now.
Oh, I mean, they kind of just walk you through what's important, but they're definitely connected.
Oh yeah, no,
Yeah.
I'm sure. I'm pretty sure they are connected. It's a cinematic universe that they're going for. But like, I don't know. I saw King Kong, Kong Skull Island, and it was really okay. Like, I guess I'm not a big kaiju fan, which is fine. You know, Godzilla was okay too. I definitely liked Skull Island more than Godzilla, though. All right.
The first Godzilla movie is boring.
Yeah.
I'll just say it.
Yeah.
He tries to do the whole like slow reveal of the monster, and I watched all of them leading up to this one, and I looked down at my watch, and in a 2-hour movie, I was at the 59-minute mark before I got to see the damn lizard. Like, show me your title character.
Yeah, exactly.
That's why I'm here.
Yep.
My problems with the first Godzilla or the 2014 Godzilla is it's trying really hard to be the 50s Godzilla and be like, this is a tonal piece about like a monster that's created by like the faults of humanity. And Godzilla has not been that since that first movie. The next movie is Godzilla versus Anguirus, and it's just big monster, big dinosaur fight. That is what people have wanted from Godzilla ever since, for like 90% of Godzilla's history. And I don't know why they decided to like try to bring the like the aged metaphor that doesn't really work with what they were trying to do.
Yeah. I don't get it. But
I also agree with that. That Godzilla 2014 is only good for the last like 10 minutes of that movie when he gets the atomic breath finally. That scene's awesome. That scene's worth watching the movie for.
Yeah.
But other than that, it's a slow, agonizing watch.
It would have been worth it if like, because the other thing about the 50s movie is that the parts with the humans have genuinely good acting for a 1950s Japanese horror movie. It's like it's all about what happens before Godzilla and like the undertones of this being post World War II Japan and recovering, and like how this feels sort of like the way it felt to be attacked by like a giant invading force that you have no idea how they work, that turns your entire world upside down. If they had made Godzilla 2014 something like that and like the actual human interactions worked, it would have felt different, but it felt very generic. And the most interesting character, Bryan Cranston, gets killed in the first 15 minutes, and no one lives up to him. Like, Elizabeth Olsen tries her best, but she's given nothing to work with. They're just like, all right, you're in a hospital, things are shaking, be shaken. And she's like, I'm shaking. And they're like, good, excellent, no Oscar, because that's not enough. And it's like, this is every scene. So
I think from what I've seen from the two movies that I've seen, the only person that lives up to the acting that Bryan Cranston does in the original, well, not the original, the 2015, I think, Godzilla, is the little girl in this movie. Which says a lot.
She's in Godzilla King of Monsters, and she's the best part of that movie.
Yeah. Oh, she is? Oh, fuck. Now I gotta watch that.
Really?
And
The little deaf girl is in King of the Monsters.
oh no, I thought you meant Millie Bobby Brown.
Oh, no,
no.
no. God, no.
She's also trash. in the movies.
God, no. No, the little deaf girl is the best part of this movie.
Who is actually deaf, and I thought that was really cool that they gave her that opportunity.
She is.
Yeah.
That's super
I agree,
cool.
but I have some comments about that though.
Okay. Let's hear it. What do you got?
Yes, I am very happy that they got a deaf actress to play a deaf character. That is awesome. However, being hard of hearing myself, and I do rely on lip reading a lot for hearing things, and I'm learning ASL because I'm probably going to be deaf in the next 10 years or so. But what I noticed is that they were taking advantage of a deaf story and not making it accessible to deaf people, because there are scenes when they're having having a conversation in ASL between these two people. They're focusing on the reaction, the face of the person who is being spoken to, and not the hands. You can't see the hands or the lips of the people who are speaking. And I found that really troublesome, because when they were on the boat and she was like, "Why didn't you tell me that that you taught Kong sign language or whatever?" And she's like, "He didn't want you to know." The mom figure would be saying something to the little girl, and I'm wanting to see, because it's all very, like, those are really simple signs and it's a really simple conversation. So I was trying to read it or listen to it in a sense.
Yeah.
But they were focusing from behind her shoulder up, and you would see the tops of the tips of her fingers. And you were seeing the little girl's reaction. And then whenever the little girl would begin speaking back to the mom, you were getting back her reaction, but not the actual signs. And it's like, yeah, sure, they put
Subtitles.
the captions, down for you to follow along and read, but you're already using a deaf storyline. You're using that in there. You have a deaf actress. You have all of these elements. You've put in that time and that work. And then you didn't make it accessible for people who are deaf, and that is their language, to actually engage with their language for the majority of the time.
Okay.
My rant is over.
No,
But
it's
that was
I agree with you on that. I also think from a film perspective, it is a lot more visually interesting to see them speaking with their hands, because that is also a form of, since you speak with your hands in that situation, them moving their hands is a form of facial expression. It is a form of acting. And so I agree that it would have been nice to focus more on the hands as well for that reason.
exactly. Well, and not even just on the hands, but your face is part of your signs too.
Yeah.
So it's going to be from here all the way down to,
midsection.
midriff, that you're getting all of this information from them. And you can still, you can angle it so you get a little bit of this side of the shot of the face to get something of a reaction, but the emotional weight is going to be carried through by the person who is speaking. You don't need a voice, like a face that's just watching and gaining that information to, it just let me get that information myself. Let me receive it with the person, not have to, I don't want to read it if it's already in ASL.
Yeah. You got valid points. Did we want to start talking? I guess we kind of already are in initial thoughts. Holland, let's go back. Let's start this with you. What did you think of this movie? Besides the ASL stuff.
I thought it was a good, just kind of fight. Carlos loves a good kaiju movie. I love a good disaster movie. So it was just kind of perfect on that front.
Okay.
It was a lot of fun. I know that we're going to get into it a little bit later about certain people and storylines being necessary. So I'll kind of get into it there. But I think it was a little bit longer than it needed to be, but that there were a lot of fights in it. So I was fine. It was I would watch it again because it was fun to watch. But I'm not sure I can call it like a great movie. It's just a good, beat down.
Okay. John, what about you?
I really liked this movie. This is my personal favorite, honestly, of the. I've been calling it the Legendary Monsterverse because Legendary Pictures is the one company in charge of all this, tying them together. I feel that unlike the other movies, this one, all of the human stuff is much more monster driven. I feel like the big villainous plot is tied to a specific monster. I don't know if we want to go into that yet, but I feel like because of that, it doesn't feel as annoying when that stuff is happening because you know that it's leading up to the plot twist at the end. Um, I think some of the attempts of humor are hit and miss, but I think all the fight scenes more than make up for it. And I really like how the Kong's family is tied together. I like how the movie is really about Kong, and he's our protagonist, and Godzilla is kind of just like a threat looming in the back of the movie the entire time.
Okay, cool. What about you, Aaron?
I liked it. I've already watched it twice, actually.
Okay.
As crazy as that is. I watched it once before the kid just to make sure it wasn't going to get too crazy. And then I was totally fine with it. So then we went back and watched it together. I liked it because I thought you gave me a really cohesive reason on why these two monsters are going to throw down. It wasn't a deep reason. It was just like, they're alphas. They have to fight. And I was like, right on, man. Why not? And they gave me a decent reason to like care about bringing them together. But I think what really shifted this movie for me versus like King of the Monsters, which I did not like even a little bit, it was Kong. I think he humanizes it so much better. And they gave me like a monster to care about. And like he is so humanistic that I cared so much more about the big battle and what was happening with the monsters. Whereas in King of the Monsters, it was like, I don't care what's happening with the humans. And then we'd get to the monster stuff, and I'm like, I don't really care what's happening with these monsters. This one, I at least cared about half. So
Yeah.
That felt nice. And some of the human characters are great. So not all of them, but there were some really good ones that I was actually attached to this time.
Okay. Ryan.
So I enjoyed this movie. I thought it was a fun popcorn flick, and it's hard to be a kaiju movie in 2021. In a post-Pacific Rim world, there's a lot now you're standing up against. And I thought this movie did really well. Like, the fights were fantastic. Like, especially some of like the shots they did. The airplane taking off while they're fighting on the aircraft carrier. That's a really cool shot.
Yes, it was.
Like, whoever thought of that's fucking rad. But no, again, like all of these, it's Warner Brother who makes these Warner Brother kaiju films. The humans are a really weak element that they keep pushing. This arguably had the best human cast of any of them. Like every like subgroup, I had at least one person I kind of cared about whenever they switched between them. I'm like, okay, this person's at least interesting. So I thought that was pretty good. And like what you guys have already been saying, Kong humanized this movie more than any of the humans did. Kong, this getting to learn more about Kong, his society, and all that was super cool. And I'm glad we finally got to see that. So, again, some human parts were really bad, but the fights were good. And for this kind of movie, that's what it needs. So I liked it.
Okay. I think this movie had the potential to be better. I guess I can't really say that because I missed the King of the Monsters. But if this was the first movie with the little deaf girl, I would have focused more on that and her relationship with Kong. I'm not a big kaiju guy. I said it before. Ryan, I did want to ask you a question. Are we classifying Pacific Rim as a kaiju movie?
Oh, Pacific Rim is 100% a kaiju movie.
Isn't it just giant robots?
No,
they
giant robots
literally
fight
was Mecha
literal
Godzilla.
kaijus.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
the
All right.
very first thing you see in the movie is kaiju.
I don't know,
definition
guys.
of Kaiju, Pacific Rim.
Okay, I've never seen it. Okay, I'm sorry. My
Oh,
apologies.
wait, you've never seen Pacific Rim?
No.
Excuse us while we all beat you down.
Oh, okay.
Pacific
All right.
Rim is Guillermo del Toro going, okay, here is why I love kaiju movies, and he just puts all the best parts of kaiju movies into a single movie, and then he throws in robots as well.
Oh, you know why?
Hell of a soundtrack.
Are you thinking of Real Steel?
No, I'm confusing the two of Battleship,
Sorry, that got me good.
Pacific Rim, and Battleship.
That's what you thought about the movie with the egg launcher?
Yeah. I mean, I did know Pacific Rim. I thought they were two of the same movies.
I'll be honest. That's a lot like being like, I've never seen Independence Day. You've never seen Independence Day? No, I'm actually thinking of Mars Attacks. Like, they're
Listen,
so wildly
they're both
different.
in the ocean. Okay, like don't attack me. Okay.
There was water involved. That's your go-to,
I feel
Yeah.
like Independence Day and Battleship would actually have more in common than even.
right?
Okay. All right. Well, I'm sorry, guys. Okay. Clearly, I
didn't
need to
see
do.
Pearl Harbor. Oh wait, that was Battleship.
You know what?
They had
Pearl
it
Harbor
both.
still hurts. Pearl Harbor still hurts to this day. God, what a great movie.
What?
Pearl Harbor is a great movie. I guess I just expected more from this movie. The fact that they barely go into why there is a ancient rivalry between Godzilla and Kong is kind of lackluster for me.
My take is that this is a good Godzilla versus Kong movie. This is not a very good the build up to the legendary MonsterVerse Godzilla versus Kong movie. Like, this is very much a, not in terms of how good it was, but a Batman v Superman situation where it kind of just feels like Batman fighting Superman
Yeah.
and some stuff happens, and not like Civil War where it's the culmination of like almost a decade's worth of stories, and so these two characters that have had their disagreements like butting heads for real. This is that giant lizard from a couple movies and that giant gorilla that you saw a couple of years ago are like, let's punch each other, the movie. And I like it for that.
Yeah.
But like all the characters, I kind of had to like scratch my head and be like, okay, I remember this guy from this thing. I remember those guys from that thing. Everything involving King Kong is 100% brand new and doesn't have anything to do with his last movie, which was kind of disappointing to me. And then a lot of the Godzilla stuff is barely touched on, because you got Millie Bobby Brown running around with her Australian friend and a black guy that she just met, which is concerning that she just goes, I'm going to meet this random guy from the internet and then go on an adventure with him to China. That's across an ocean. That's concerning.
In her defense, she didn't really know that she was going to China.
Oh, yeah, that's fair.
Okay.
I forgot about that.
But still,
Also,
yes.
he's from New
that boy was
Zealand. Not that it
Australian?
matters.
Yeah, I was
but
gonna say that.
The
but
man's
yeah.
a Kiwi.
No,
Just-
I'm a big Flight of the Conchords fan. There is a major difference, and that was on me. I feel very, very bad about that.
Also, wasn't that the kid from Deadpool?
It was
okay.
the kid.
Yes.
All right.
That's where I saw him. I spent
And
the
Hunt for
whole
the Winder
movie-
People, which if you've never seen,
Hunt for the
top
Winder
notch Takai Waititi
Oh, I
movie.
should watch it.
People? Oh.
I've been trying to pinpoint that kid the entire movie.
Deadpool 2.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. I lost my train of thought. I guess.
I just had one thing. I think I took the whole. You mentioned it being an ancient war, an ancient versus between them. And I realized as I was like watching other people's takes and kind of hearing other people's takes about the movie that I had a very, very, very different interpretation of the hollow like kingdom and Kong's ancient family's throne and all that kind of stuff. I had a very different idea of what that all meant and what their fighting and everything came to.
Go for it. Let's hear it.
my interpretation, whenever I was watching it, was that they were not ancient enemies, but that once upon a time they had worked together. Um, I read it as they worked together to rule the world. I didn't see it as there can only be one Titan and it's, only one Alpha. That because there was the top side and the hollow earth, that they were ruling them separately but together to keep their places in check and and so what my thing is that the reason it had Godzilla's little, I don't know, that radioactive ring around the throne. I took that to mean something more along the lines of um, they worked together. That's this is who you're with. This is your ally, and that's also why the back discs were there. The spine discs were there, and that they had been given to Kong's people to make those tools out of, because they do use them later in the movie when they're fighting, that they can be charged with that atomic mouth ray thing. So I kind of took it to mean that, and that Kong and Godzilla fighting now was actually them kind of misunderstanding what they're supposed to do with each other and kind of having forgotten that they used to be allies. And so they've been fighting and everything. And by the end of the movie, they have kind of, reconciled, or they at least go their separate ways. They beat up on each other and then they realize they have to join together like their ancestors did to fight the mech. And then they go and they go back to ruling their separate kingdoms together. That is how I always took it.
That's a way better take on how I perceive this movie.
It made it a much more enjoyable movie for me. If it was always that they were ancient enemies, I was like, that's so boring. I don't like this. Is just stupid. But I took it for so long. Go ahead.
It makes sense because Godzilla is very much a sea-based creature, so it would make sense that he's seen all over the world. While King Kong, as far as the universe tries to point out, is all references to King Kong are either on Skull Island, or in this movie we find out the Hollow Earth. So I do see it as making sense that it is supposed to be the Hollow Earth. Kong rules inside the Earth, Godzilla rules the seas and the outside of the Earth, and then however way like Skull Island was created was just this Kong getting like spat out onto the Earth, and that's why he never bothers to like leave Skull Island. Is like that's his domain. That's where he rules, and he's not like a creature meant to like explore compared to Kong, who's like can sail all over the world.
Well, and they even say it that Skull Island was always Hollow Earth, like somehow an anomaly that came out. Yeah. It's its own little Hollow Earth island that they think was connected. So,
and that's why
I like that take a lot. I assumed they were setting us up for a prequel where I was just going to get to watch a bunch of giant apes fight a bunch of giant lizards, and I was pretty into that idea too.
They are, because as much as I like that take, isn't there a bunch of skulls of Godzilla's people scattered up leading into that compound?
I think so.
Like, isn't it just scattered in Godzilla and Kong skulls? Like leading even to the throne room? So it looks like they went to war. Like,
I mean, he does technically say it. There's a line of dialogue where he was like, their species used to war against each other. But also, these scientists wouldn't know that.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, the human interpretation
just figured out what
means jack all to me.
Yeah.
Right, exactly.
The human mean nothing. I'm just going off of...
Y'all just got here.
Dead big lizards and big...
There are a handful of very blink and you miss it lines about them mentioning like paintings on Skull Island, and that's where they gleaned all this information from. But they are like literally like 3 of them in the entire movie at like at least an hour apart. So
yeah,
I can understand missing them.
No, I saw them, and again, I thought it was human error. I thought it was going to be a whole thing of just human error, because humans became like, it's just, I just don't really have a lot of faith in people.
No,
No, again, I have more faith in the
Except for
giant
Disney
lizard and
perverted
monkey
before
than I
as
do in
well.
most people.
That's
Mhm.
fair. I mean, that's what this movie is about. It's like the side of humanity is supposed to be Mecha Godzilla, and it is inferior to Big Monkey and Big Lizard. That is the moral of this film.
I also had a
It's-
problem with. Sorry, Holland. Go ahead.
No, sorry. I was just gonna say it's inferior to them when they're working together.
Yeah, exactly.
Against only one of them, they can beat one of them on
Yeah.
their own.
I was
So
also
that's why I was like, teamed up.
I was also very confused about the whole Mecha Godzilla becoming sentient, or was that just Ghidorah taking over the?
It was
So
Ghidorah taking
that's where you
over
needed to watch King of the Monsters to understand the way Ghidorah's body works. Because
Yeah.
his head was so big that they all telepathically communicate.
Well, that's what I thought. But then,
Yeah.
like, how did Ghidorah automatically know? Like,
I think this leads into that there's still the third Ghidorah head. I think the third Ghidorah head took over Ghidorah, took over
Okay.
Mechagodzilla, fried the dude who, first off, I'm pretty sure that was an Evangelion reference just for the way that room was laid out. That's a different story. Fried him and then took over Mechagodzilla. So I think there's still one more. There's, of course, one more Ghidorah head because there's 3 of them.
yeah.
So I think one of them was controlling Mechagodzilla that entire time.
Okay. Gotcha.
I mean, there has to be, right? Like, how can an empty skull communicate telepathically?
Which hopefully leads to Mecha Ghidorah, which is the dumbest design, where he has one normal head and 2 metal heads.
Listen, if you tell me that movie is coming out, I wouldn't put it past it in this universe. All these people, like, are just stupid. I'm sorry, but everyone in this movie franchise has done the stupidest things in the world. One, you see Godzilla coming up, you're not going to stand there and look at him while he's fighting King Kong. You're running the fuck out of there so you don't die.
I mean, I think I'd risk it.
Of course you would. And then that's your death right there. But like,
Would you risk it sitting at a fancy restaurant like an hour, 4 hours after he showed up? That's what they were still doing. There
Yeah.
was people still in restaurants.
I don't know. I don't get it.
Well, it seems like they've gotten real used to that now. Like, there's a warning system on your phone I thought in the beginning of like kaiju attack.
All the more reason why
That's
I
true.
would just stay at home. Like
You get that alert, and you're just like, same shit, different day.
Yeah.
But like,
Godzilla's rolling back
At
through.
this point, it's been like 4 or 5 cities that have been attacked by giant monsters. No, because in King of the Monsters, it was every major city was attacked by something. Because you had Rodan, the big pterodactyl. You had King Ghidorah. You had the giant mammoth that they never showed, but they're like, look, it's a giant mammoth.
Behemoth
Let's get
was
it.
his name.
Oh, interesting. Yeah. I want more from this because I played the Godzilla fighting game on the GameCube when I was a kid, and so like I don't know anything about them other than there's like characters like a guy with drills for hands or a guy with claw hands or stuff like that, and I want to see them all like this eventually. So I'll watch 1,000 of these if I have to.
okay.
Carlos actually asked me. He said, "Do you think it would be cool to live in a world like this?" I'm like, "What do you mean a world like this?" He's like, "A world that has kaiju?" He's like, "Wouldn't that be cool?" And I was like, "No, it
Me and
wouldn't."
Carlos would get along. I'd also like to live in the kaiju world.
I'd be fearing for my life every second of every day.
The
I live
app,
in the
the
middle of
alert.
Indiana, I'd be fine. Like if you're in a landlocked nowhere suburb, you're good. You don't got to worry about things. These people like skyscrapers and coastal cities.
Well, we're in
So-
Houston, so FML, man. I was shocked at him, and he
The
lived in LA
Texas
before that. I'm
kaiju.
just like, are you kidding me?
I
gotta
don't
like,
live.
go
we don't
anywhere
wanna live
without a
in this world.
mask
I
now.
live in
You
it
put
for-
kaiju on this earth?
Exactly.
What do you mean?
Oh my gosh, exactly. Thank you. So
Oh,
when
boy.
it got towards the end, whenever Hong Kong, and he's like, he was like, why are there still people eating? The kaiju showed up like hours ago. Why hasn't Hong Kong been evacuated? I was like, what was that about still wanting? He's like, oh yeah, no, I changed my mind. It would be horrible to live in a place like this.
Oh man. Okay. I have here. Do you guys think this movie could have been better? Aaron, let's start with you.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you kick out Millie Bobby Brown and her dad entirely. It's so pointless. I would have Australian kid actually be the paranoid one who like really just believes in Godzilla, and he goes and hunts down this guy and they go off on a buddy adventure. I'm all about that.
Oh, that would have been really fun.
I love it.
Her and her dad, like it literally makes no sense. And then for some reason she's just like grabbing a landline to try to call him. Like she knows how this phone in Hong Kong works. Like no, get rid of them and the movie's already better. I would take out just bitchy daughter because she was just there to be rude and
no
then
reason.
die.
Yeah.
I watched this movie twice, and I forgot she was in it when I started watching the movie until she showed up. And then I forgot she was in it until you just mentioned it on this podcast. Like, I wasn't thinking about that until this moment.
The second time, when I watched the second time, when she showed up, I literally said, oh, right, you.
Yeah.
Here.
She's just there for snarky comments. That's it.
And it's
We'll
only
make sure
two
you do
snarky
your
comments
job.
she gives. Like,
All right.
What's the point?
I
I
know.
thought she was gonna have a very different. I thought she was gonna have like a redemption arc.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, me too.
Kind of have to go, and so I was like, okay, cool. I'm like, she's being a little bit bitchy, but she like kind of cares about the little girl. Like, you know, she's interested in all that, and I was like, okay, like, there's gonna be something. She's gonna have this redemption, and then just, and I was like,
Yep.
oh,
Oh, no, you
that's-
sucked the
nope,
entire
you-
time.
Yeah, you died. Yeah, you died.
Yep.
On the other hand, I am
Your dad was, what's his name from Wonder Woman, and that was it.
Yeah.
You could be better. That's all that guy reminded me of, too. I was like, I've already seen this villain.
I haven't even
He's-
seen Wonder Woman, and that's what I was thinking. Like, I was like, oh, they were like, let's just do that.
Yeah, literally, that's how I felt. I was like, if these weren't like probably shot simultaneously, I feel like they're just ripping each other off at this point. He was just like, your kaijus are good, but they can be better. And then he showed off Mechagodzilla.
Maybe that was his
and then
wish.
I also would have 100% never, ever, ever in the history of ever, and I know it's only one line, but you asked if I can make this better. When he goes, it's Robo Godzilla, and for no reason at all, this kid goes, no,
It's
that's
Mecha.
Mecha Godzilla.
The
As if we
worst.
just had a title ready to go. So I don't know. Give the villain, let him name his creation and give him the big speech to say you now witness like Mecha Godzilla. That's fine.
Yeah.
But them about to get stomped on, and the kid for some reason decides to correct this dude. Like, Robo Godzilla is a perfectly acceptable name, and he's just like, no, I can outdo you,
Plus, at
Mecha
that point,
Godzilla.
there's
I was
no
just like,
proof that is a like controlled Godzilla as opposed to like an artificial intelligent robot Godzilla, right? So like, why would he know that it's like a
Right.
mechanized-
Well, no, they see the
Well,
guy.
it-
They see the guy in Ghidorah's skull.
Do
They
they,
haven't
see it
seen him
before
yet.
They see Godzilla. Yeah, they see that
No.
in the next scene.
Yeah.
And then they, like,
No,
because
run
he has to
away,
escape
and then
the
They were
Skull
just in the Elon Musk metal train of the skull crawlers.
Yeah.
No, when he says no, it's Mecha Godzilla. They've already
No,
seen
that's
the.
right. That's when they got
No.
put in the kill room where they test
Right.
Mechagodzilla against the skull crawlers.
Yeah, the scene
Okay.
where they're running away, and then he's like, "I've got 6 cents. I'm a black guy. We go this way." And then Millie Bobby Brown is like, "No, the plot says we need to go to this room." And then he's like, "Why are you going to that room?" And she's like, "Look, it's the Mechagodzilla skull.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
This is how you write a script. This is how people naturally act as real life human beings."
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
And I'm just like, go back to the giant monster.
So to answer your question, I don't know if it could have been more entertaining, but it could have been a better film for sure.
Okay. All right. We got Christian in the chat saying he wants to see Kong fight Kyle Chandler, the dad, which I'm all for. Kyle Chandler is a very great actor, and they gave him shit to work with in this movie. I really hope that.
2 movies in a row. Don't know why he keeps coming back.
This is a glorified cameo. Like he was.
Oh,
a
you know he's
character
making
in the
probably
last
okay
one,
money from this.
Yeah,
but,
That's true.
like, he's in literally 3 scenes, and that's it.
Yeah.
He has no arc. His job is to be a dad and say, "Don't do the thing you're gonna do," And then she's like, I'm Harry Potter. I'm going to do it anyway.
Yeah, but
How
also,
good to homecoming.
Did you just do Lego hands?
And
Yeah.
that's why I would even take out Millie Bobby Brown. Like their relationship was so pointless, and he was just like, "Look, Godzilla attacked people," and she's like, "But he's not bad," and he goes, "Yes, he is now. Give your pop a break."
why would
Then
you
she's like,
assume
"Cool, I'm
that
gonna
Godzilla
to Hong Kong."
is good? Like all he does is
'Cause
cause
you didn't
destruction.
watch King of the Monsters,
But all he causes is destruction.
Sometimes you need to destroy
They
things
even
to
pointed-
protect things.
They even pointed out in this movie, every scene where he just attacks a city in this movie is the first time he's ever attacked things unprovoked. In the first one and the other one, giant monsters start blowing shit up, and Godzilla is like, I don't like that you exist. I'm gonna stop that. He kills monster, and then he's like, I'm gonna go swim, and then he goes swim, and he doesn't bother anyone until the next movie. Or the
Okay.
next monster.
All right.
Yeah, where does this dude go? Like, where is Zilla's house? Because that's
He
true.
lives in
Every time he's like,
Atlantis.
"All right, I killed the
He
monster. I'm gonna sink into the ocean, and I'm out of
We go
here."
to the Mariana Trench, which is the deepest point
Yep.
of the ocean on Earth, because that's the only place where he would fit as a giant monster.
And also, that's the
I-
only place they'd probably leave him
Didn't-
alone.
Explain where he lives in
No,
King of the
Ruben,
Monsters.
Ruben, you don't know that. Okay, you haven't watched Pacific Rim. You don't get to make any comments about the
Oh
Mariana.
god. Okay. All right.
Because
Fair
like
enough.
in King of the Monsters, he goes to Atlantis because Atlantis is for some reason nuclear.
Oh
He
yeah.
does, and
It's
then
'cause of that
Ken
mother box.
Watanabe takes off his glove just to push
It's-
one and
Yeah.
enter.
Yeah.
He risks radioactivity to hit 2 buttons and then blow himself up anyways. And then it turns out he didn't need to do that to awaken Godzilla because Godzilla was just taking a big nap.
Yeah. that's
King of the
right.
Monsters is one of the worst things I've ever
To be
watched.
fair, the whole
That was
reason why
so
Atlantis is nuclear is both on a fault, which is why it sunk, because if a Earth fault like splits apart, cities sink anyway, and B, geographical like radiation pockets do exist in the Earth, and sometimes the sea is just super radioactive, really deep in the ocean. So it's not as stupid as it could be, but everything Aaron said about, oh, I gotta go deep underwater into deadly radiation to push button to give Godzilla a little shock to give him a wake up alarm, that was very dumb. But three-headed dinosaur fights lizard dinosaur, so it was a great movie. I like all these movies.
Okay.
The only one I don't like too much is Godzilla 2014, and that's just because it's like trying to be like an emotional impacting thing, and half the time it's just I forgot his name, but Kick-Ass just being like, whoa, I don't know, I need to shoot a gun at something, and they're like, you can't shoot guns, they're too big, and he's like, I'm gonna shoot a gun at something, it didn't work, and they're like, you can't shoot guns, it's too big. And then Godzilla fights the Mutos and goes away. But as for if this movie could have been better, I think just in general, the way all of these movies could have been better in that balancing the human characters with the monsters could have been better. Like Aaron said, Millie Bobby Brown's plot points are literally just to show us things that we could have gotten from like press conference scenes or like fake advertisements of like Apex being like, what is the deal with our big cool thingy that we're doing? And they could have just revealed those like later on in the movie and let that kind of stuff simmer.
Yeah.
I think this plot is still a little bit better than the other ones because everything Apex is up to does lead to Mechagodzilla, compared to what I didn't like about Godzilla King of the Monsters is that the reason why all of these monsters are showing up is because evil scientist lady is like, I want to cause like the world to be destroyed by giant monsters. This is all my plan, and then that means that like the real villain of the film is like just some lady.
Spoilers.
And that felt,
I'm kidding. Go ahead.
sorry.
No, that's okay.
Not bad.
Don't worry about it.
Well, in this one, it's still kind of like that, but it makes sense because we built a robot Godzilla, it is Mechagodzilla, and that kind of makes sense to have more human intervention in that case.
Okay.
It drove me bonkers though. Like I would have probably had it where And like sending Kong to the center of the earth to power Mechagodzilla didn't make nearly as much sense to me. I was kind of hoping he was trying to get these two monsters to fight so that he could say, look, this is terrible. A good thing I built the super robot monster to take them out.
I
Yeah.
do
And then
agree.
it kind of goes crazy, and then the two have to fight against it and like come together that way. So even like the main plot points, I think, could have just got there slightly better.
No, I do agree with you. Hollow Earth was also a weird thing that I did not understand.
Yeah.
Weird but gorgeous, right?
Oh,
I
yeah.
did like a lot of the visuals of the Hollow Earth stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And, like
no,
the
that was
jumping and then
super
like
cool.
flipping and landing. I don't
did
know. That
see
stuff was cool.
Some good complaints that I agree with. That it would have been nice to see King Kong and Godzilla fight in zero gravity.
Oh.
Jumping on
that
rocks,
would've been
throwing
awesome.
rocks,
That
and
would've
then
been
the one
dope.
flying
That
in
would
the
have been
air.
Yeah,
real
that would have been
cool.
really into that.
That would have been awesome.
You ever hear an idea so good it actually hurts the movie a little bit more?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's that infamous GIF where Godzilla like jumps across the screen and does like a huge kick and like flies 1,000 feet. They could have done that, but with him like using his atomic breath to power it and then spinning around like punching or something.
Classic Godzilla
Oh,
tail
I'm
drop.
hurting. Oh,
Yeah.
Guys, let's just make a Godzilla versus Kong movie, but like a good one, you know.
God, Warner Brothers, give me the money.
Ryan, what do you think? Could this movie have gone better? Have been better?
Until Aaron gave me the idea of them cutting Millie Bobby Brown's character, I honestly didn't think so. God, if it was just him and the kid from Deadpool, that would have been so much fun. The chemistry would have been great.
They're
Oh, I
both
want-
hysterical too.
Yeah.
Was that kid in King of the Monsters?
Either was
No.
the guy.
Okay.
Nah.
That kid that automatically, just because he has glasses doesn't mean he's a hacker, guys. Okay. I was getting real
That's my
sick and tired of
favorite
this
part
shit.
this movie.
That was funny to me.
No.
I
He
thought
isn't.
that scene
The
was
joke
funny.
is that he's just a kid who likes computers, but he's just like a 15-year-old kid, and he even says it like, I know how to download songs off the internet and like
That's
do
it.
stuff with HTML, and that's it. I like
Yeah.
that.
He knew how to program
That's
HTML4.
I was not a fan of that.
thought it was
I
funny.
also liked that scene just because they flipped what is such an annoying
Yeah.
like
subverting
sort of-
expectation.
It's all
Yeah.
it
Yeah, I
has
thought it
to
was really
be
it took a
fun.
just,
trope.
like,
That was the word I was
throws
looking for. and
soda on
Flipped it.
the computer, and then it goes bzz, and I'm like, that's
That works
But,
too.
Pepsi on my
what I
keyboard.
would have done to fix this movie is definitely eliminate a lot of the human elements. The Millie Bobby Brown and her dad. I don't really see a reason that we needed the angry bitch lady who just came in and was just mean to
The
like and
only
make
reason
snarky
is
comments.
to give an excuse for who's like doing this sucking
Like,
up the energy.
I
thing.
would rather have had her been like her dad's right hand man in the office, just being like evil with the other evil people, and then have sent honestly nobody for the expedition, but then like in the last second, like have it like swoop up or like program that the machines like go back to their headquarters or something along the lines of that. If you need to get the DNA samples you want and everything.
Yeah.
Or make her not shitty and like not do snarky comments and actually seem like she really cares. And then you reveal at the
And
end
then
that he
have
sent
the
her
double
along with the
twist?
team
Yeah,
and she
'cause-
steals the thing. And then you're like,
Mhm.
oh no, she stole the thing. And then she immediately gets that revenge when she dies. And you're like, yeah.
or even have it go as like so far that her father got killed in the attack in Miami and now she's taking over and has a vendetta. Just give her a reason for being evil.
Yeah.
Like
Make it
not
the plot
evil
twist-
for evil's sake.
the plot twist in Atlantis, the Lost Empire. Oh boy, we found Atlantis, and then the guy does this, and he's like, "Time to steal all their batteries, press them." Like,
Yeah.
that would have made more sense if they were like on the side. And, like, all right,
Like
time to get to work.
at least the man piloting Mecha Godzilla, he had a reason. His father like studied Godzilla his whole life and all that, and
Yeah.
dedicated his life to Godzilla and died because of it.
And he didn't even want to die. He was like, we should probably test this giant robot thing
Yeah.
that you're powering with a source we don't get.
No.
Can you give me a minute? And the
Nope.
rich guy was like, no, get your ass in there. And he's like,
That's
okay, I'm probably going to
very-
die.
That's very realistic, though, with how
That's
like
fair.
technology works.
Yeah.
It's like just do it. It's like get it, ship it, just ship it.
It's like every game we've played in the last 10 years that doesn't work.
Yeah.
Just ship it.
Hi, Cyberpunk. How you doing?
I was waiting for somebody to say it.
Oh, it had to be the Cyberpunk apologist.
Something I'm glad they didn't do that I've seen worse movies do is that when Godzilla turned evil, or Mechagodzilla turned evil, I've seen worse movies would have been like, okay, but they don't know it's Ghidorah, so like have a hologram pop up that's Ghidorah's head, so you know it's Ghidorah, and it's like, no, we didn't need that. So
Yeah.
I'm glad they didn't do that because I've seen movies like this do that, like for adults do that.
Yeah.
No, again, cut out the human elements a little bit, like balance it a bit better. And I hate to say this because I know it's probably setting up for, my guess is Monster Island, if I had to guess, the next movie in this crazy franchise.
Makes sense.
You should have had the final battle in Hollow Earth. Don't get me wrong. Hong Kong, neon light, big city, great place for final battle. But you've just given us this amazing world to work with, which, if my guess is correct, you're going to use for Monster Island. But other than that, it never felt like fully fledged. Like, there's a lot of cool elements to it that we got to see for a second. Again, if I had to give these movies anything, the monster design, especially in lower level creatures, is awesome. Whatever that flying snake thing was,
Yeah.
dope.
Yeah.
I liked that. That was fun.
I was a
But,
big fan of the birds with bat wings. They had like a really interesting design because like the bird heads did not look like realistic.
Yeah, they look like
birds. They
giant
looked like,
vultures.
Yep.
yeah, I thought those were really cool, even though we just saw them for a little bit.
Yeah, no, again, all these little creature designs are super cool, and I would have loved for that final battle to have involved maybe a few more of them, and that they fight in, like, instead of Godzilla blowing a hole through the earth and having Kong up, what if Godzilla just jumped down that hole, and they fought in the throne room?
Yeah.
And that would have been, that's where I think this movie should have ended, is in Hollow Earth. Someone claiming the freaking throne that was built there.
Yeah, but how is Godzilla going to get back up,
Yeah. A big point of this movie is that they're like teaming up to fight Mechagodzilla.
It is.
I know it sounds cheesy, but I really wanted them to do the meme where like they clench hands and like do they shake hands like this.
Yeah.
Oh.
And then they walk away.
At the end of the movie, me and my friend who were both watching were just hoping, like, what if Kong just gets on the back of Godzilla, rides him like a surfboard back to Skull Island, and we're like, please.
Why not? Why not? Holland.
But no.
Oh, go ahead, Ryan.
Again, other than some of the people elements and some minor things, that's really how you fix this movie up.
Okay. Holland. What do you got for me?
I think a lot of it is coming down to what we're going to talk about later with, are these certain people necessary, or, whatever. But as far as making it better, first of all, I like my interpretation, and I wish they would flesh that out.
Yeah.
You're welcome, Hollywood. But I don't know. I just think it had like I would have gone there. I would have given the
Holland, it looks like you accidentally bumped mute.
No,
She
my
covered
Alexa
it.
started going off, so I was stopping it. Sorry about that.
That's okay.
But so the quote unquote bitchy person, Maya, I would have, like I said, given her a redemption arc of some sort, or made her go full on evil villain. Dad gets, and she takes over. Something like that, and that gives you like the next sequel and keeps Apex going to be the big bad, or be one of the big bads, because there, like we've talked about, there is that third Ghidorah skull that is not accounted for, and we put nothing past that bitch. So there's all of those pieces. I agree with you guys about the Hollow Earth. It should have been a scene for a kaiju fight. I think, but there were 3 big fights between the 2 main characters. So we had the one out on the ocean, which was beautiful. And then we had 2 in Hong Kong. So one of those, the first one before Ghidorah showed up, could have gone down there to Hollow Earth because Godzilla only shot his atomic
breath.
thing down there, and then Godzilla just was like, "Okay, I'll come fight you," and it's like, so, because I think kind of combining the two, it would have been interesting for them to be fighting, and then Godzilla see some kind of like information there where he understands that he and Kong used to be, allies, and then they go up and they fight Ghidorah or whatever. I agree that the dad's part could be wiped out completely because he was just there to say this thing happened, and it was very tiresome. And I said that during the movie. I'm like, he is just here to say this. He is just here to make an observation. I'm getting real sick of him. But I think overall it was fine and entertaining. It could have been made better with some tweaks, but you can say that for any movie.
Except for, Zack Snyder's Justice League. That's all I'm gonna say.
Oh yeah.
God.
You say a lot of things, Ruben. Say a lot of things.
I do. I had one scene in this movie where I was just like, that was so pointless. Where Godzilla's coming for Kong in the ocean, and the lady locks herself up in the little room. So pointless. Why would you do this? She locks herself in the little room with the girl, and then she gets trapped in there, and she's like, I can't open it. It's stuck. Like, why would you put yourself in that room?
Yeah, I think she was thinking it was going to be like one of those bulkhead doors that keeps water out, but it did the exact freaking opposite.
Yeah, it made it worse.
It's going to seal off the compartment.
Yeah, I was there just to give you that stereotypical, the door's jammed shot.
We're drowning. Yeah, I thought it was going to be it was meant to be that she was going to save them that way, but it didn't even hold up even a little bit to one blast, like one hit. And that was stupid. I'm like, wow, there's a design flaw on this ship.
Yep.
And that design flaw is that it wasn't made for giant ass apes fighting lizards.
Yep.
You know what?
It's how we should test most boats.
I agree.
You could have at least had a huge ass tugboat for Kong. Come on.
I mean, you're
Titanic
living in a
would have been a
kaiju
different movie if we tested it for kaiju attack.
This is also
you're living in a kaiju world. You have to test for these things, and they had plenty of.
When they flew him to Antarctica, I was like, "This wasn't your starting point plan."
It should have been.
Godzilla can swim. You tried to say you mapped out his typical swimming patterns, even though this lady says 15 times before they leave, the second Kong leaves containment, Godzilla will know exactly where he is, and they're gonna fight. And then she's like, "Nah, it's cool. He never swims down this channel."
I think the idea was that to minimize
The big lizard doesn't come
they would
here.
avoid where he usually goes. I don't think the idea was that he won't show up. It's that it would be more inconvenient for him to show up.
Also,
go ahead, Ryan.
Weren't they near the Arctic Ring when that happened? Weren't they getting near the Arctic, to Antarctica when they got attacked?
It doesn't look like
No
it.
idea.
It doesn't look like it.
We have no idea.
Isn't that where he fights Ghidorah in the second movie? Was in Antarctica? He knows how to get to Antarctica. This lizard can swim anywhere he wants in the world.
And again, I think my biggest issue is that they make it stupid clear that the second Kong is out of containment, Godzilla has Titan homing that will find him.
Yep.
Then they're like, you know what? We're gonna try the boat anyways.
I think that would have really fed into that thought of, maybe they really are wanting, like what you were saying earlier. Maybe they really want them to fight, so it's like, oh, it's a good thing I made this Mecha Godzilla. That would make sense why they wanted to take the boat and no, it's okay. We made sure he doesn't come this way. It's totally fine, and make it seem somewhat plausible that they did this, and then kind of forget that, oh, hey, we're on the freaking ship too. This is a bad
Right.
idea. But, or that, I don't know. It's just, if it was like closer to somewhere with civilization, it would make sense that they
Right.
were like, yeah, let's take the ship and let's cause this to be an issue so that my mech is necessary. Other than that, it doesn't make any sense.
I
Yeah.
think-
Especially when he's just sleeping in a hammock. He looked so comfortable when they finally flew him to
Oh, yeah.
Antarctica.
Oh, he
I
was
think
chill.
it's easier to
I think he was a
refuel-
little chilly. They needed to get him a sweater.
I think the
Giant
big thing
Kong
is that
sweater.
it's easier to refuel one ship than to refuel 6 helicopters in the air while they're flying. I think that was probably it. But I mean, we're probably thinking about this way too hard. Where giant lizard fights big monkey.
It's true.
How do they get
But also-
to the gaps to enter the Hollow Earth?
I think they needed him to be tired out so that way he wouldn't wake up while they were in the air. To take him off with the helicopters.
Like, let's let him get some of his energy out. We'll
Yeah.
take the boat until Godzilla shows up. He can punch himself tired and then nap the rest of the way.
I almost died, but that's okay. I'm gonna have one more question here. We've kind of touched it. The problems with kaiju movies, like just give us more monsters. I know that's kind of hard to do with like the budgeting stuff, but like you put way too many people in this movie. It wasn't necessary. We've said it again. Millie Bobby Brown and her father, and that honestly, I think that whole crew didn't need to be in this movie. Just focus on the guy who's trying to get to Hollow Earth. Just focus on the lady who knows Kong, who's been studying Kong for a while, and the kid who can talk to Kong.
I disagree.
I also disagree.
Why is that?
My reasoning, and I don't even know that I would get rid of Millie. The reason we need that part of the story is to make Godzilla a sympathetic character. Without him, this is a Kong movie where Godzilla shows up as the big bad. He's the enemy. He is essentially evil because he's the one fighting. Kong has so many people on his side in this movie, with the little girl and the woman who is studying him and the people who are like taking care of him as he goes to Hollow Earth. He becomes our sympathetic good guy. And he's the one with tools and we can really relate to him. Without Millie or without the other storyline, we kind of lose that we ever liked Godzilla. We come into, well, no, I hope Kong kicks his ass. There's no who do you root for? Who's who's really in the right? He's always Godzilla has always been running things up here, and people have rooted for him in the past because he saved them from all of these big monsters, which you would know if you had watched King of Monsters. But so I think we really need them to make sure that this is kind of more on an even keel. It may not be perfectly even. I think a lot of us kind of do still root for Kong for all our own reasons. But yeah, without Millie, without like her dad, yes, absolutely get rid of him. He was completely pointless and I was losing my mind through the movie. If I would be like, oh shit, you're in this movie. Why? It's so dumb. And then like, I guess since the bitchy girl didn't get her redemption. I don't like calling her the bitchy girl. That bugs me. Maya, when she didn't get her redemption, I'm like, okay, she can go. Like, she's unnecessary except for like trying to steal this source. But any kind of bozo with a gun could try to do that.
Yeah. They could have at least given her like some kind of motivation or some kind of arc. They don't necessarily need to redeem her, but she didn't seem to have any driving force other than daddy told me to get thing, I will get thing, that is my job. It wasn't even like, even if they gave her like I'm fiercely loyal to my father, that would have been something, but it literally just seemed like my dad is my boss, I'm doing what my boss says, and that's it. It's not like I love my father and I will do anything to help his dreams, or I have a grudge against kaiju. It is, this is my job, I will do it. I don't care about this ape, dump him in the ocean. And the moment she said that, I knew she was dying. I'm like, oh, she doesn't like King Kong. This movie's gonna kill her. Okay.
Yeah, she was just not compelling at all. So it was just kind of that kind of thing that I feel these people were just, some people were not necessary. Others, I understand why they put them in to make sure we kind of had that balance of sympathies.
Okay.
I'll push back on you a little bit, Holland. Like, what if you take out Millie Bobby Brown and the two guys entirely, and you literally just have Pedro Pascal Light say, you know, I've never trusted Godzilla. Everybody thinks he's on their side. I'm going to prove them wrong. Here's my answer. I built Mecha Godzilla. And then he sends it out, and he's literally just trying to paint Godzilla as bad. Do you feel like you as an audience member would be like, oh, okay, cool. Like, I get the villain is actually the one doing this, so I'm still rooting for Kong because he's good. And you just take out those little side characters running around entirely?
Well, I don't know about because it's still not giving you a reason for Godzilla. I think, like you said,
That's
you
right.
would be rooting for Kong. And I think the whole point of Godzilla versus Kong is for us to ask the question that we had at the beginning, which was pick a side. Who do you think? Who do you think was the right one? Or who do you think was going to win? Who, you know, who's your fighter? Whose corner?
Yeah.
And
Would
without
Captain
there's
America Civil War be as interesting if Captain America didn't have Falcon on his side?
Yeah.
If it was just Captain America versus Iron Man and Spider-Man and all of Captain America, Iron Man's friends.
Yeah, absolutely.
I feel like you have to have like a supporting cast between like Godzilla has his buddies and Kong has his buddies. I just think the problem is that they didn't do a good job in Godzilla King of Monsters of developing Millie Bobby Brown's character and his force, and they didn't do a good job of making them feel interesting in this movie. I think if you, like we have said before, cut down on the Apex mercenary girl, so we could use that other word less often, and devoted more time to developing Millie Bobby Brown and making it less like about exposition and more about developing her relationship with Godzilla. And I think an important thing is that maybe have her sort of feeling like she is obligated to make up for the fact that her mother in the last movie was like using him as a tool and making his life difficult, and you could have made her driving force in this movie to be like, I gotta set things right for Godzilla and make up for what my mom did. I think that would have been more interesting.
Yeah, to Holland's point, like, I agree. I guess maybe my issue is like they still never gave me a reason to root for Kong. I just knew Millie Bobby Brown still believed he was good.
Godzilla.
But there was never a connection with the human characters and Godzilla. Versus like Kong, we really did have these moments where they connected and you felt like Kong truly wanted to protect people. Whereas Godzilla, it was always like, I'm just trying to protect myself and I'm getting two different alpha signals that I need to destroy, and whatever's in my way to get there, I'm going to do it. So
right.
like, I totally agree that I think their purpose was there. It was just poorly executed.
Not well done. Yes, exactly. No, I agree with you there. Now, I agree that it was very poorly executed. They could have done a lot better with that. And just there was something about Millie Bobby Brown's character being so I watched a breakdown on Easter eggs earlier, and I think she was called something like Godzilla Anon or something like that. Made me chuckle. But she was just really there for this idea, but she also had that conspiracy kind of thing, like the podcaster.
Yeah.
She had
Right.
like that conspiracy mind, which I get. She grew up with her mom, who was part of this huge cover up of kaiju. But I don't know. They could have just done it a lot better with them and made it more sympathetic and more compelling. But I don't think taking them out of the movie completely was the answer, unless you gave us someone else who was like, Godzilla really like changed my life for the better in this way. I need to show people that he is good and he is here for us, and then make him sympathetic that way.
Yeah.
We were still going to have some kind of storyline that was on Godzilla's side.
Yeah, I'd agree with that totally.
Okay. Final thoughts, guys. Aaron, what do you got for me?
Man, this is just like, best way I can put it is like a top tier Fast and Furious movie.
Hmm.
I'm like, I'll come back to it with all its flaws and probably still just have a good time. Like, it's one of those ones that I think even when I poke fun out of it in the future when I watch it again, it won't ever be malicious. It'll just be like, haha, yeah, there's the silly cranky lady who only says snarky things. Moving on. So it did its job really well. It gave me an entertaining movie where Kong and Godzilla threw down.
Okay.
That's about as much as I can ask of it.
Do we think that Mecha Godzilla was really necessary in this movie?
Yes, I think
Yeah.
you had to have a reason for them to come together. I don't think you could have ever done bad Godzilla or bad Kong, which is what I called from the very beginning. I was like, all right, cool. So we're going to watch them fight, and then they're going to introduce Mecha Godzilla, and then they're going to have to team up and take down Mecha Godzilla.
Okay.
My wife was like, what? I'm like, that's how it's going to go. It's literally like Godzilla might as well have had his foot on Kong's chest, and Kong should have let out Mothra, and Godzilla should have been like, "Why did you say that name?"
First off, how dare you, sir? Okay. How dare you? Yeah, I started laughing and then I knew where you were going with it, and I don't
On the
appreciate that. I
Snyder
don't
loving
appreciate that.
podcast.
Oh boy. Ryan, final thoughts.
All right. Again, I thought it was just a really fun movie. Like again, it's fun. As much fun as it is to just sit down and watch Big Ape fight Big Lizard, it's also fun to poke fun at these movies. That's half the fun of them, is just making fun of the absurdity and usually the bad human elements. So yeah, if I would want a better movie, yeah, fix the human elements. But other than that, yeah, it's just a fun film. Like sometimes you just gotta watch these fun, dumb films. Comparing it to a Fast and the Furious movie is perfect
Ugh.
because I get it's the same vibe. I love those movies to death, but they're dumb fun, and I know that. And
Okay.
that falls right in line with it.
All right. Holland, final thoughts.
I think it is my favorite in the universe.
Okay.
And I mean, I enjoy it. I wasn't like super thrilled with it, but I mean, I'd probably go like I'm probably gonna watch it again. I'm probably gonna be inebriated again when I do. Just makes it a little more fun. And I mean, but it's just a good kaiju fighting disaster movie, and I feel like the human element was minimal enough, whereas in the other movies it hasn't been. They were just overwhelming in it, and
do
in
agree
this
with
one
that.
I feel like they kind of realized that they needed to pull it back some, or at least give us some really interesting like other monsters, like sub monsters, to make it just palatable. And they did that, and it made it more fun for me. So I didn't love it, but I liked it, and I kind of want more. I was a huge Godzilla fan when I was a kid. When I was growing up, I was all about the cartoons and even the old movies. And so I feel like they're kind of starting to get there. They're almost there.
Okay. John, final thoughts.
I really love this movie. It's exactly what I wanted from a movie called Godzilla versus Kong. I'm only disappointed just because, like, in terms of this connected universe, I don't feel like they're using it super well. The fact that there are no references to any of the characters from Kong Skull Island is kind of disappointing. There was a 70-year gap, so I understand that, like, that amount of time it's hard, but like there are references to like an ancient like expedition to the Antarctica in the 1920s in like the opening cut. Like you could have found something or had like references to the incident during the Vietnam War or something. Um, uh, I feel like the big problem is that you want enough conflict between the human characters that it feels like an A story and a B story, and the A story is the monsters fight, the B story is how the humans are trying to navigate this. And I just felt like there wasn't enough that felt genuine, that wasn't forced. But compared to some of the other movies, like um, uh, King of the Monsters, where the main villain isn't really a monster. It's the lady that's like pushing buttons to like trick all the monsters into fighting each other. That's not. This does that better. It's easier to ignore the human elements that suck in this movie compared to the other movies in here. Other than I think Kong Skull Island handles that better. But more importantly, the fights are really interesting. They're really distinct. They're really unique. Everything these characters can do is shown off. I would have liked Mecha Godzilla to be a little thicker, a little tankier. But I think part of the idea is that they rationalize his strength with its like rocket boost, and so it's like more aerodynamic, so it can like punch harder. I thought that was pretty interesting. Overall, I really enjoyed this movie. I hope we get more of these. I hope they're more distinct. We get weirder Godzilla monsters. I don't know what more you can do with Kong from here, though. Unless they just do the standard Kong goes to New York, does weird stuff, and then he's like, pretty girl, I'm gonna fall asleep now. I would like to see sort of this series get more Godzilla focused, and then maybe in a big thing where like all the monsters get loose, then Kong comes back to save the day. That would be cool. I know a long time ago, like around Godzilla 2014, there were talks about how it would be pretty neat if there was somehow a Godzilla Pacific Rim crossover. They've said that would be cool. They haven't really brought that up since 2014. So those are my thoughts on this. Overall, 8 out of 10 movie. Good lizard monkey fight.
Okay. I have one thing that I wanted to bring up before I give my final thoughts. There was a bunch of places that they could have gone instead of Antarctica, but they chose Antarctica for some weird reason. Like the hollow map that he brings up, there's like fucking caverns all over the place. And you just chose Antarctica just because it's the easiest location to get to, I guess. Or there's not a lot of people there. Probably that makes more sense. But
you see, the Earth is hollow, but there's like a little plug at the bottom. So like they unplugged it, and that's how.
Like
gotcha.
a bathtub drain.
Gotcha.
Like a cork in a wine bottle. It's like that's what Antarctica is. They popped a little hole in there.
But again, there's also drains all over the world, according to his hollow
too
map.
Small for Kong.
Gotcha. Yeah. Okay.
He's
all right.
a very big monkey. He's bigger than the biggest monkey.
Okay.
I want to bring up one more thing here, which is how does getting into Hollow Earth work? Like, do they go into warp drive? Because that's what it looked like. It looked like Star Wars, like warp drive. And a majority of the movie, I was just saying that, like, did they go through a wormhole?
Yeah,
I can explain this. It's actually really clear. You just bungee jump with a cord tied around your intestines.
Oh, thank God. I'm glad.
That's it. What he said.
Yeah. Okay. Final thoughts. I thought this movie was interesting. I just, would have liked it to focus on. I don't know. When I originally saw the trailer for this movie, I was like, oh, Kong is the good guy, and Godzilla's just. He doesn't give a shit anymore. Like, let's just fucking take out all of them. So I just automatically assumed that Kong was going to be the more, I guess, relatable character or kaiju. So that's just my thoughts. Of course, I haven't seen King of the Monsters, so I can't give you a definitive answer. Having said that, let's just slide into some plugs. Aaron, what'd you like to plug?
Oh, you can come hang out with me on Twitter, Aaron Seaney, Seaney. Also, usually on Tuesdays. This week it'll be on Sunday. I do a live show called Awesomely Average. I'll be talking to Cameron Hawkins this week. And then after the live version, you can find that at twitch.tv/awesomelyaveragegaming, or you can check us on the VOD, youtube.com/awesomelyAverage, or we're on all your favorite podcast services. And then the last thing I want to plug is tomorrow night, there's a show called Game Source Network that you can find on YouTube. Me and Jacob from Speaking of Stadia are going to be guests on there tomorrow. And we have kind of an announcement that we're gonna do, which is pretty cool.
Oh,
So
God,
stay
you guys
tuned to
are-
hear more about that.
It's finally
Tomorrow.
finalized. You guys are being funded by Google. It's about time, you know? It's about time.
You think that just happened? We've been funded for
I
months.
knew it. I knew it. I just wanted to hear you say it. Ryan, what do you got to plug?
I'll be plugging my Twitter, Ryan the Lion 3055, for any hot takes I have, usually on anime, and forever else I'll be showing up on the wide world of the internet.
Okay. Holland, what do you got?
I'm going to kind of divert from my usual this time. It's April, and so this month is Sexual Assault Awareness Month, and I was hoping to kind of bring some light to that. Right this year, they're focusing on building safe spaces online. So you can go to nsvrc.org and you can kind of get more information and statistics, as well as learn how to practice digital consent, intervene when we see harmful content or behaviors, and ensure that our online spaces are respectful and safe for everyone.
Okay. Wow.
That's awesome.
Do me a favor. Please send me that link so I can put it in the description below.
Of course.
Okay. John, where could people find you?
I'm on Twitter at Noisy Shark. I've been trying to work on stuff. My work has been really exhausting and inconsistent lately, but I'm still playing through all the mainline Mario games, trying to come up with like a retrospective going into how all the Marios compare to each other today. I'm playing through Persona 5 Strikers. Whenever I can get that done, I'm gonna make a review of that. And also, once I get enough footage recorded, I'm going to be making a video review of Super Mario 3D World. So,
Okay,
plus
cool.
Bowser's Fury, because it's the Switch version.
Okay, cool. You could find me on this channel. I believe Eric is streaming this week on Sunday, doing his solo stream. Again, he just gave me a very non-descriptive answer of he's playing horror games. So we'll see what that means. I swear to God, if he shows up playing Cuphead, I will be very upset.
What if he's just playing horrible games? Like he shows up and he's like, "Hey guys, I uninstalled all the patches in Cyberpunk. I'm just gonna play."
I'd actually really appreciate that. I would love that. But of course, we know Eric is not that funny. So I'm sure he's probably going to be playing Resident Evil 7, talking about, Tall Lady from Resident Evil 8.
That's the next movie we need: Godzilla versus Kong versus Lady Dimitrescu.
That fight is just so one-sided.
I think that's just a porno, if I'm being honest with you.
Oh no, you're right.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry, but I had to say it. We are, like I said before, the schedule for our content is up on the website. And I'm sorry, guys, I had to say it.
Did you?
Yeah, I did. Because somebody else was going to say it in the comments if I didn't. Okay. And yeah, I think that's pretty much it. Thank you guys for joining me. Hopefully we'll see King Kong prequel pretty soon, because I would love that. When you said that, Aaron, that would kill for me. Yeah, just them in Hollow Earth kicking ass, taking names.
Yeah,
It'd be
just
great.
a big army.
Yeah.
Godzilla's versus Kongs.
That's what I was about to say. That's the next movie. At some point, Godzilla's versus Kongs. You have it's all in Konganese, so they're all just speaking ape language.
Konganese.
Yeah, Konganese. And they're having a war against the Godzilla.
No, it's almost like a Planet of the Apes movie.
It would be great if Planet of the Apes was tied to this.
It's going to be called the War for Hollow Earth. You heard it here first. I'm just saying.
Okay.
Oh.
All right. If that's true, we're having you back on.
All right.
All right, guys. Thank you very much once again. Have a beautiful night.